Welcome back to Mysterious Case. In today's episode, we'll revisit the case of Tyler Pratt, a man trying to rebuild his life, a horrific case straight out of a Hollywood movie, money, love, and betrayal. On February 28, 2021, in Stoney Creek, Canada, businessman Tyler Pratt was shot dead, while his girlfriend Jordan Romano narrowly escaped death, 13 weeks pregnant. The culprits, Oliver Caraffa and Lucie Lee, two friends Tyler trusted, to whom he had lent $500,000. From a cold-blooded murder plot to an international escape, this story is packed with drama and twists like an action movie script. Join me as we dive into the details of the shocking case in Hamilton, Ontario, where petty greed led to a tragic end and devastating consequences. And don't forget to support us with a like and a subscribe.
Police have confirmed 2 suspects involved in the homicide and attempted murder in Stoney Creek last month have fled the country. Based on information, we believe 28-year-old Oliver Caraffa and 25-year-old young Lucie Lee boarded a flight from Canada to Eastern Europe approximately 24 hours after the murder of Tyler Pratt and the attempted murder of a second victim. We believe that Caraffa and Lee are aware that they are wanted in relation to the incident and are actively evading police. Oliver and Lucie, if you're seeing this, we encourage you to turn yourself in. We are working closely with international authorities, and we are positive that our investigation will lead to your whereabouts. We will continue to relentlessly pursue you.
Stoney Creek, a small town near the city of Hamilton, Ontario. Hamilton is renowned for its steel industry, producing over 60% of Canada's steel, and is also a peaceful city with a population of about 580,000, situated on the western shore of Lake Ontario. On the evening of February 28, 2021, that tranquility was shattered by the sound of gunshots ringing out on Arvin Avenue. Around 7:15 p.m., Hamilton police received an emergency call. A passerby discovered Jordan Romano, 26, crawling on the concrete road beside a car, blood pouring from a bullet wound in her chest. Not far away, they found Tyler Pratt, 39, Jordan's boyfriend, dead from multiple gunshot wounds to his body. It was clear that both had been the targets of a deliberate attack. Police suspected the perpetrator had fled in a white Range Rover SUV and urged the public to provide any information. Tyler and Jordan had been together for over a year, living together and nearly inseparable. At the time of the attack, Jordan was 13 weeks pregnant, a child they both eagerly anticipated, hoping to start a new, beautiful life filled with love. But the shooting stole everything. Tyler died, Jordan lost the baby, and she was plunged into a prolonged nightmare. Even more heartbreaking, they had once tried to leave behind a dark past to build a brighter future. Tyler Pratt was no stranger to the underworld, but he wasn't someone who only thrived in the shadows. At 39, Tyler was a father to 3 children under 18 from previous relationships. He graduated from Catholic St. Anne's Academy in Kamloops, was a passionate fan of the Montreal Canadiens hockey team, and was described by family and friends as someone who always strove to be better. He had once dealt cocaine, a part of his past he couldn't deny, but when he met Jordan Romano, everything began to change. Tyler wanted to leave that life behind, turning to legitimate business to build a future for his new family. Tyler had founded 2 companies, Hard as Diamonds, specializing in diamonds, and Elite Organic Nutrition, selling weight loss supplements. He was also developing a mobile app. It was this desire to start over that brought him and Jordan to Hamilton, Ontario, a place where they hoped to begin a cleaner life. Tyler had money, a lot of it, and he wasn't shy about using it to help others. Jordan Romano, 26, was an indispensable part of Tyler's transformation. She was a strong woman who stood by his side. When she became pregnant, their resolve to break free from the past grew even stronger. They lived together, shared everything, and dreamed of a happy family. But that dream was shattered by Oliver Caraffa and Lucie Lee. Tyler had lent the pair $500,000 to start a business, never imagining that his trust would lead to his tragic death. Oliver Caraffa and Lucie Lee, the 2 names behind the horrific case, were a couple whose lives seemed unrelated. Oliver, at the time of the incident, was 28 years old. Born in Slovakia, he moved to Toronto with his parents, Maria and Vodek, as a young child. But his life soon took a dark turn. In 2014, Oliver made headlines across Canada when he drove drunk, speeding at 3 times the legal limit. The result was a crash into a utility pole, which sent his friend David Chang, 19, through the windshield, killing him on the spot. Charged with impaired driving causing death, criminal negligence causing death, and drunk driving, Oliver was sentenced to 5 years in prison.
Oliver Caraffa's sister Evita walks out of court after a bail hearing for her little brother. The 19-year-old sat in the prisoner's box before Justice of the Peace Mindy Averich-Skapinker, wearing the same outfit he was wearing early Tuesday morning. That's when the Toronto man was arrested and charged with impaired driving and criminal negligence causing the death of his friend and fitness trainer, 24-year-old David Chang. Caraffa's lawyer explains what will happen when the case returns to court on Thursday.
We are returning tomorrow for further evidence, and Her Worship will be considering her final ruling.
It was Tuesday around 2:30 a.m. when police say Caraffa, who was traveling at extreme speeds on Mount Pleasant Avenue, north of Eglinton, lost control of the 2007 Land Rover he was driving and hit a steel pole, smashing the SUV into 3 parts. Chang, a passenger, was killed instantly. Police allege Caraffa was drunk. At the scene of the crash today, a growing memorial of flowers and notes, even the leather belt Chang trained in.
We definitely want to honor him in some way.
At Extreme Fitness Delisle, the general manager says Chang, a University of Waterloo grad, had worked here for the last 2 years. His death has devastated coworkers and clients alike.
After serving his 5-year sentence, he didn't change. Instead, he dove deeper into shady dealings, from car theft to selling stolen vehicles. Lucie Lee, on the other hand, came from a completely different background. At 25, born in Toronto, Lucie was one of 3 famous triplets. One of her sisters, part of the Mia triplets, had competed in Miss World Toronto. Lucie grew up in luxury, pampered by her mother and 2 sisters, living a wealthy life many envied. She often appeared on social media, posting photos in swimsuits with her family and answering fans' questions. So what led a girl like Lucie to get involved with Oliver, a man with a criminal record? No one knows for sure, but it's clear that when they met, a dangerous alliance was formed. Oliver needed money, Lucie craved excitement, and both were willing to do anything to achieve their goals, even murder. It all started with a $500,000 loan. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Oliver Caraffa came up with the idea of selling personal protective equipment, PPE, in Europe, a promising venture at the time. But he didn't have the money, and that's where Tyler Pratt came in. Through a mutual friend, Tyler and Oliver met and gradually became close friends. Tyler, eager to shift to legitimate business, saw this as a good investment opportunity. He generously lent Oliver $500,000 without a formal contract, relying solely on trust and verbal promises. Oliver sweetened the deal by showering Tyler and Jordan with lavish gifts, like expensive watches, to solidify their bond. Lucie Lee, Oliver's girlfriend, also played a role in this charade. The 4 of them, Tyler, Jordan, Oliver, and Lucie, met frequently over 100 times in just a few months. Oliver constantly bragged about the success of his PPE company, even showing Tyler screenshots of a bank account with $12 million. But the truth was the complete opposite. His company was hemorrhaging money. To cover it up, Oliver fabricated excuses, claiming the funds had to be routed through Europe due to Canada's high taxes and that the pandemic was causing delays. Tyler didn't suspect a thing and continued to trust his friend. But the pressure was mounting on Oliver and Lucie. They didn't want to repay the debt, nor could they keep up the act forever. Instead of finding a way out, they chose a ruthless path: kill Tyler and Jordan. That way, the debt would be buried forever. The plan was meticulously crafted, from luring the couple to a remote location to preparing the weapons. February 28, 2021 was the day everything fell apart. Oliver and Lucie had meticulously planned to lure Tyler and Jordan to a remote warehouse on Arvin Avenue in Stoney Creek. Oliver told Tyler it was an ideal spot to expand into medical cannabis thanks to some permits he bragged about having, plus the fact that Lucie's mother owned the warehouse, so no one would suspect a thing. In reality, it was just a pretext to get them to an isolated location. Oliver borrowed a gun from a friend, had that friend hold on to his and Lucie's phone SIM cards at their apartment to throw off suspicion, and even arranged to sell his Audi SUV and Tyler's Range Rover for cheap, $4,000 each, after the deed was done. That afternoon, everything unfolded like a script. At 1:13 p.m., security cameras captured Oliver and Lucie in the elevator, heading up to their shared apartment. By 3:33 p.m., Lucie left wearing a hoodie and a wig, though anyone could tell it was her. In that moment on the elevator camera, Oliver wasn't visible. He's believed to have taken the stairs to avoid detection, while Lucie seemed confident in her hoodie and wig disguise. By 5:07 p.m., both were at the warehouse. Tyler and Jordan arrived shortly after, around 5:23 p.m., and were told to park in the back. The warehouse was locked up tight, just the four of them there. Tyler stepped out of the car to talk, while Jordan stayed inside. Things quickly turned into a nightmare. When Tyler grew frustrated at being deceived, Oliver suddenly pulled out the gun and shot him multiple times. Jordan heard Tyler yell, "Run!" before she was shot through the car window. Despite being hit, Jordan floored the gas pedal and sped out of the lot, trying to escape. Tyler collapsed while Oliver and Lucie frantically searched for her, but couldn't find her. After the shooting, Jordan Romano, despite being shot in the chest, managed to drive away from the scene. She made it a short distance down Arvin Avenue before losing consciousness. Jordan recalls crawling on the road, begging for help from a passing driver, then passing out. Fortunately, that person called the police in time. She was rushed to the hospital, slipping into a coma for 3 days, losing her 13-week-old unborn child and suffering permanent injuries, nerve damage in her leg and chest, along with limited mobility. But miraculously, she survived. Meanwhile, Oliver and Lucie were in a panic. They searched the area around the warehouse for Jordan, but couldn't find her. Assuming she'd die from blood loss, they gave up and returned to their apartment by midnight. At 3 a.m., they drove to a remote gas station, waiting until 6 a.m. when it opened. Lucie went into the public restroom, discarding a trash bag containing bullets, a hat, and a blonde wig. Then they abandoned their car and took a taxi to Montreal's airport. Security cameras captured them boarding a flight to Eastern Europe just 24 hours after the crime, specifically to Frankfurt, Germany, before driving to Slovakia, Oliver's homeland. In Slovakia, they hid at Oliver's parents' house. An international arrest warrant was issued.
Police have confirmed 2 suspects involved in the homicide and attempted murder in Stoney Creek last month have fled the country. Based on information, we believe 28-year-old Oliver Caraffa and 25-year-old young Lucie Lee boarded a flight from Canada to Eastern Europe approximately 24 hours after the murder of Tyler Pratt and the attempted murder of a second victim. We believe that Caraffa and Lee are aware that they are wanted in relation to the incident and are actively evading police. Oliver and Lucie, if you're seeing this, we encourage you to turn yourself in. We are working closely with international authorities, and we are positive that our investigation will lead to your whereabouts. We will continue to relentlessly pursue you.
When the news reached Oliver's parents, they were furious and kicked both of them out of the house. Oliver's father arranged a safe house for them in Hungary. After 7 weeks of hiding in a safe house in Hungary, Oliver Caraffa and Lucie Lee thought they had evaded justice when they heard the international arrest warrant had seemingly been canceled. The two decided to take a risk and travel to Budapest to obtain fake Canadian passports, hoping to start a new life under different identities. But that was their biggest mistake. Hungarian police, working with Interpol and Canadian authorities, were waiting for them. Both were arrested on the spot, ending their dramatic 3.5-month run from the law. After their arrest, Oliver and Lucie were held separately, each assigned their own lawyer. Oliver pressured Lucie to resist extradition to Canada, insisting they'd be safer in Slovakia. But Lucie had other plans. She struck a deal with her lawyer, agreed to return to Canada in exchange for being charged only with murder, avoiding lesser counts. A puzzling decision since a murder conviction could mean life in prison. Oliver was furious when he found out, but he had no choice. Both were extradited to Canada in early 2022, though he didn't get a deal like Lucie's. On the flight back, Lucie shocked everyone by complaining about having to sit in economy class instead of her usual first class. Her mother even offered to pay for the entire group to fly first class, but the request was, of course, denied. Back in Canada, Lucie was released on bail in January 2022 with a staggering $2.7 million bond. But by May 2023, she was arrested again for violating her bail conditions twice. In May 2024, The trial of Oliver Caraffa and Lucie Lee took place in Canada, drawing significant public attention. Both pleaded not guilty to the charges of murdering Tyler Pratt and attempting to murder Jordan Romano, but the evidence against them was overwhelming. Tyler's blood was found on the hood of the Audi Q5 they drove to the scene, inside Tyler's Range Rover, and on a pair of sweatpants they discarded. DNA from Tyler and Jordan was discovered on a face mask Oliver threw into a trash bin in Port Carling, where police also recovered Lucie's abandoned Mercedes and the wig she used as a disguise. Paint marks on the Audi and at the crime scene further confirmed their presence. A forensic pathologist testified that Tyler didn't die instantly. He was hit by 6 bullets, 3 in his arm, 1 through his neck, 1 grazing his chin, and the fatal shot to his chest, piercing his lung, causing him to linger in unimaginable pain for anywhere from 2 minutes to 2 hours before succumbing. Lucie claimed she didn't know Oliver's intentions, insisting she was on the other side of the warehouse when the shots were fired, and called herself the dumbest person in the world for getting involved. She even said the wig was a toy she liked and that the flight to Europe was because Oliver convinced her Tyler's gang would come after them. Jordan fiercely disputed this. She insisted Lucie was standing close by when Oliver opened fire, an accomplice, not a bystander. Jordan spoke of her own pain. She had turned to alcohol to cope with the fear and grief of losing Tyler, suffered from PTSD, nerve damage, and the loss of her unborn child. After 7 weeks of trial, the jury took just 1 day to reach a verdict. Both Oliver and Lucie were guilty. On the day of the verdict, the courtroom held its breath. After a day of deliberation, the jury declared Oliver Caraffa and Lucie Lee guilty on 2 counts, the murder of Tyler Pratt and the attempted murder of Jordan Romano. Applause erupted throughout the room and Jordan shouted, "Goodbye, Lucie," as she was led away. But what stood out was that neither Oliver nor Lucie showed any remorse. They stood still, faces expressionless, silent as they received their sentence. Life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. Under Canadian law, that meant they'd have to wait until 2046 for any hope of release, a steep price for their ruthless actions. Jordan stood up to face her attackers in court. She called them despicable monsters, saying they were the ones who had truly cut their own lives short with this crime. She spoke of the pain of losing Tyler, the man she loved, the father of their unborn child, and the physical and emotional scars she'd carry forever. Once, she even crashed her car in a panic, convinced Oliver and Lucie's associates were hunting her down. But that day, she affirmed that justice had been served, even if it couldn't bring Tyler back. Tyler's family was also present, quietly absorbing the verdict. For them, his death was an irreplaceable loss. Though he'd once been involved with cocaine, Tyler had been trying to change for his children and Jordan. He didn't deserve to die just for misplaced trust. Oliver and Lucie, over the $500,000 Tyler had lent them, had betrayed him in the worst possible way. The story of Tyler Pratt, Jordan Romano, Oliver Caraffa, and Lucie Lee sounds like an action movie script, from fake friendships and a murder plot to an international manhunt and a conclusion behind bars. Tyler, a man who had once lost his way but was determined to rebuild his life, misplaced his trust when he lent Oliver $500,000. He and Jordan dreamed of a happy family, but that dream shattered amid the gunfire on the night of February 28, 2021, in Stoney Creek. Oliver and Lucie, driven by greed and ruthlessness, turned Tyler's kindness into tragedy, taking his life and leaving Jordan with wounds that will never heal. Oliver and Lucie's escape from Canada through Germany, Slovakia, and Hungary showed they thought themselves clever criminals, but their foolishness was laid bare when they were caught in Budapest, all for trying to get fake passports. The 2024 trial closed with a life sentence, bringing justice to Tyler's family and Jordan, but it couldn't erase the pain. Though Tyler had once sold cocaine, he didn't deserve to die. He was a father, a partner, a man trying to right his wrongs. Meanwhile, Oliver and Lucie, from vastly different backgrounds, both chose a path of crime. What lesson does this case leave us? Perhaps it's about trust. Not everyone deserves it, no matter how close they seem. And about the cost of greed, $500,000 isn't worth a friendship. Hopefully Jordan will find peace, and Tyler's family will overcome their loss. As for us, let's remember that real life can sometimes be more dramatic than a movie, but not everyone gets a happy ending. What do you think of this story? Leave a comment below and don't forget to give me a like and subscribe. Stay safe and see you next time.